Last week, the U.S. Supreme Court announced that it will hear oral arguments this February in the legal challenge blocking President Biden's student loan bailout. The president has said he's confident his order to bail out federal student debt will be upheld. Now, this despite previous comments from the outgoing Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, confirming what we already know. The president has no authority to do that. This is yet another example of the Biden administration's mismanagement of the economy. We've seen this with skyrocketing inflation, soaring energy costs. Now we have a shrinking workforce. What's going on? Joining me now to talk about this is Congressman Kevin Brady. He's the ranking member on the House Ways and Means Committee. He represents the 8th Congressional District of Texas. Congressman Brady, welcome back to the program.
Good to see you, Tony. Thank you for having me.
Well, the legal challenges to the Biden administration's attempt to buy votes through the student loan bailout will now go to the Supreme Court. Do you think the administration will succeed in defending this bailout?
No, I don't think they have a chance. And I think President Biden knows they don't have a chance on this. Certainly, past administrations like President Obama was very clear they didn't have the authority. Speaker Pelosi told the truth when she said the same thing. I know the Biden White House believes it. I think this was a very cynical political ploy ahead of the campaign, the election, to try to buy votes, try to cast Republicans as being unfair. But the truth of the matter is, I think this whole effort is so unfair to working families, those who don't have loans, those who paid off their loans. And I think at the end of the day, it backfires on this president.
Well, let's move on to another topic. I think you're right. You have looked at the numbers that came out from the jobs numbers in November from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What's happening with the workforce? It appears that it's shrinking. People are going away. The disappearing workers, where are they?
Yeah, so this is a big driver of inflation, something we've been shouting from the rooftops here for more than a year about how the workforce is shrinking, how the government is really incentivizing people to stay home and not reconnect with work, and how this is driving prices higher and longer. We're seeing this in these monthly reports where the workforce has shrunk, I think, 2 or 3 of the last 3 months. It's why inflation has increased 2 of the last 3 months, and why it's going to be very high and last a very long time, because this administration doesn't seem to care about reconnecting workers to their jobs. And so there are still incentives, such as the lavish Obamacare subsidies, that actually drive about or give at least 500,000 Americans better health care at home than reconnecting to their jobs. And as long as as the White House is in denial about the workforce crisis we're in, our economy is going to struggle.
I mean, that's almost creating this perfect storm for the economy with all these factors that are self-inflicted.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And this morning we woke up in Texas and we're short 1 million workers in our state alone. And it's small businesses, it's mid-size, it's large business, it's consumers, it's manufacturers, it's people who service the equipment as well as sell it. So this is a worker crisis really of the president's own making. We had a strong economy, paychecks growing twice as fast as prices under President Trump, in a good, strong workforce, but they were reconnected because it paid to work. Right. None of that's occurring today.
Let me switch gears before we run out of time here. You've been at the center of the budget negotiations as the year end approaches. We were just talking with Senator Rick Scott, kind of getting the Senate perspective. What's the latest in the House?
Yeah, so for among House Republicans, I can just say this is no time for another spending spree, certainly no time for the status quo. And rather than, I think, accept a year-long omnibus just stuffed, with spending that the country, frankly, doesn't need and can't afford, in supporting terrible policies like open borders, certainly along Texas, I think House Republicans, while we don't always favor, a short-term funding bill, I think in this case, it would balance out the power in Washington to kick this into next year and really give Republicans and Democrats a share of the power in the purse. I think that can help turn things around.
To me, Kevin, that's a no-brainer. That's what the Republicans should be doing. Do you have a consensus there among Republicans to do that?
I think we do. And Leader McCarthy, Speaker-elect McCarthy, made that same case here yesterday afternoon as well. I think, there are some that want this long-term, big year-long budget stuffed with all sorts of things. But House Republicans are, I think, the outliers here in the sense that we're standing firm.
Good. That's so good to hear. Hey, I know this may be the last time we have you on the program because you are retiring. This is your last term in Congress, and I know we're getting into the holidays. And I just want to thank you for your leadership throughout your time in office, and thank you for being a frequent guest here. I always look to you for helping us walk through kind of the economic numbers, but you've been strong on the life issue, the family issues. You've been a real warrior for the average working families your entire time in office, and I just want to thank you for that.
Well, Tony, thank you. It's been a joy being on the show, but I get right back at you. Thank you for your leadership and voice on so many key issues. I see you're on the committee to review the last election and results. And look, we turn to you for so many values issues and family issues. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Merry Christmas, and look forward to
too.
seeing you in Houston.
Good to see you, sir.